So I'd like to introduce you to Alan Varley. Alan is Pride Road's Technical Associate. So would you like to say hello and introduce yourself, Alan?
Yes, hi, I'm Alan Varley, Pride Road Technical Associate. I've enjoyed the projects that we've done over the past 5 or 6 years, and we cover everything really that's on the technical side. So I enjoy the projects, and yes, here we go.
So, Alan, tell me what training have you had?
Well, as you can probably guess, I'm not a spring chicken, so the training started when I left Liverpool Polytechnic, and that was in 1971. So it's been through examination as well as on-the-job training, and it's architectural technologist, building surveying. I'm RICS chartered surveyor. I'm a chartered architectural technologist, and I'm a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Building. So it's an all-round education in the building industry, targeted at the moment, quite enjoyably at residential extensions, which all of that background comes into play because they're most complex and everyone is different. And you have to dip into your knowledge base to make sure you do all the right things.
Oh, okay, brilliant. So when you get involved with a Pride Road project, what's your usual sort of first meeting with the client?
Yeah, well, when the project's introduced to me, it's already crossed a couple of bridges where there's an initial pre-consultation by the architect, and then there's normally a workshop as well. So I'm going in at a time when the clients have actually approved to go to stage 2, which is the planning stage. So I arrive to do a detailed measured survey of the property, so everything below and above ground is understood and all the nuances that goes with it, based on a sketch scheme plan, which is reasonably detailed. In other words, it tells us what the ambitions are. And then that survey, together with, pass it on to other team members, and it generates into an AutoCAD scheme of existing and proposed for a planning stage inquiry.
So you usually go to a client's house to do the survey. How long would a survey normally take?
Well, I suppose the minimum would be 3.5 hours, which is maybe a terraced house of 2 up and 2 down with maybe an outrigger, up to, some of them are quite large. So somewhere between 3.5 and say 7 hours. And quite often the older houses have cellars, so that needs to be done, and loft spaces and gardens to measure, particularly where the extension's going to go. So it's all one, each property takes a day rather than, I don't do 2 in a day, I just concentrate on the one, but it's only a part of the day, like half a day. So it depends on the scale.
So when you're measuring a property, so as well as taking physical dimensions, what else do you look out for?
Well, if we start from the ground up, it's tree roots, the depth of existing foundations. Often ask the client, are they traditional? Sometimes they know, but they certainly tell you if they're piled. Drainage routes, service positions, particularly if we're building over electric, gas, water drains. Are the drains shared or are they a private system? Tree roots come into play because they affect the depth of the foundation. Meter positions, and then working up, it's is it a cavity wall or is it a solid 9-inch wall, so we know what we're dealing with, a solid ground floor or is it suspended timber. and really it's head height, sill height. So it's a full survey, both horizontally and vertically. And then traveling further up, we go into the roof space, and quite often it's either storage or a loft conversion, and we take heights there to see if it's feasible with or without lowering the floor, the ceiling of the first floor. So it's really a kaleidoscope of things that go into a melting pot, so that when we draw out the survey, all of the information goes on the AutoCAD drawing. The more information we have at the initial stage is a more accurate drawing. And so when the builder prices it, it's a more accurate price and there are less issues on site.
So what sort of advice do you give to franchisees? You've delivered quite a few CPDs. Do you remember the kind of titles of CPDs that you've delivered?
Yes, yeah. Well, I suppose that advice to incoming architects is really to not only understand the brief, but also understand that it's both achievable physically and it will pass muster with planning.
So, Alan, sorry, just to cut you short there a sec. So in terms of, so Alan's on hand to support our franchisees, and Alan sort of often comes to our franchise development days and delivers CPDs on a huge range of kind of technical subjects which are particular to the type of houses that we're involved with. So what was the title of our latest CPD that you did with us?
I think there were a number of topics. One was the different periods of construction from 1850 to current date. And because we can't see what lies beneath the plaster, we can anticipate it by the age of the property. So it's really what lies behind the wallpaper, and we can predict it through the age. And so it was a lot of technical details of what to expect with floors, walls, roofs, and what to expect with drainage, so that when you visit a site, even you've clocked it from the outside of what era it is, therefore you can anticipate what the construction is. And that's important, so that you know what you're up against in terms of the extension connections to the existing.
So I think, as you can tell, Alan is a wealth of knowledge and an expert on so many subjects. I'd like to say Alan's the yin to my yang. Sort of my high level design, you're the detail, and sort of not a stone goes on unturned, which is amazing. So thanks very much, Alan. Thanks for joining us.
Pleasure.